For mass resignations, I think you need a very strong internal cohesion. I think that there is a general agreement that some reforms have to be made, particularly electoral reforms. Because in the last 3.5 years, we saw a very dysfunctional parliament, unfortunately. And this hybrid regime, led by the self styled savior of the country that has become an arsonist, I would say, only used parliament as a rubber stamp and, in fact, misused the authority of the president by using the presidential house for lawmaking. That has never happened. Ordinance is always an emergency law, it is never a permanent law. And unfortunately, this hybrid government used this form of lawmaking as a permanent and a normal form of lawmaking, as a result of which a lot of these ordinances have damaged this country. Why should it be dissolved for now? I don't see, because if there is a new government that is coming with the aim of making certain changes, and it is possible it completes the tenure of the assembly. If it does, then even Sindh assembly will complete its tenure, and all other assemblies as well. The combined opposition will take decisions together. And the reason why we are taking this government reluctantly is because there has to be certain course correction, there has to be some certain reversals, and this tsunami, the destruction in the wake of the tsunami has to be cleared up. So all decisions, and the most important decision of these will be the elections, will be unanimous. And when it is a unanimous decision, then all provinces obviously will follow. For mass resignations, I think you need a very strong internal cohesion. And what I have witnessed in the PTI over the past 1 year, or even during the Senate elections, that it's an internally disentangled, it's a very entangled party where there are a lot of internal differences and there are a lot of divisions within the party. And then the present power structure within the party is such that a lot of people who have joined are not pure PTI workers. They have come as a result of power, perks, privileges, and so on. And such people never resign. I'm sure that our leaders have a strategy, and of course the rule says that you have to go through elections. And if they are planning to resign, then the election is the course. For a start, that the ordinance that they brought in which they allowed the use of the electronic voting machine and overseas Pakistanis, both of these have to be, the electronic voting machine has either to be done away with, or a caveat has to be made for, provision has to be made as electronic machine if and when we are ready for it. But for the overseas voting also, it has to be made conditional, or it has to be specified. We are not against voting by the overseas Pakistanis, but it has to be done in a way that that is in conformation with law and the Constitution. I'm not sure if we are going to abolish them, but there is definitely very strong thinking that we should not allow any accountability laws to be used as a tool for political engineering. And the past examples by all the rulers, whether it was the dictators and the last, I would say the last as in Imran Khan, as an outgoing Prime Minister, unfortunately used this law as a tool for political engineering. We should have, if we have an accountability law, the accountability law should make everyone accountable. It should be across the board. However, it should be a civil offense, a bailable offense. People should not be humiliated. People should not be, casticized before they are actually implicated. So I think there will be some reform in this law. Logically speaking, there was no room to not reverse this. But historically speaking, and that was the general perception or general observation, or even a lot of views from jurists, they feared that we may have a repetition of a doctrine, some kind of a doctrine of necessity, where no judge, I'm sure, would ever allow, this ruling to go as okay under the Constitution. So we were all sure that the ruling would be dismissed as and ruled as unconstitutional. We were about to make a history, and yet another history of breaking the Constitution was made, this time by a deputy speaker. We have heard of Constitution being broken, or seen it, witnessed it, by generals, army chiefs, presidents, even bureaucrats, and this is the first time that the Parliament itself became the place where Constitution was broken. That was shocking for us. And it was to our immense relief when 4 days later the courts stepped in and they corrected the course and they disallowed the ruling by a unanimous judgment, in which they said not only that ruling was unconstitutional, but also subsequent events that led to dissolution of the assembly was unconstitutional. It was very important to clear the air and ask whether this forum, which is a very important forum, did see this particular so-called letter or a cable as something that led towards Imran Khan's ouster. So we wanted a clarification, and that's why Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari asked for such a clarification.